Okay, we're recording. We're good. All right, so I just wanted to ask all parents to come because our Sunday school has been off. It's like the best way to put it. We've been really low on kids, and so us as Sunday school teachers just wanted to kind of pick your guys' brains, see how we can best serve you guys, meet you where you're at, just kind of get an idea with you guys. So I kind of pulled up some statistics here at Faith. So last year, some of you remember, we sent out a survey asking, just kind of getting what's going on in your lives with Sunday school and church and all of that. So 80% of parents said that they wanted to stick with Sunday school instead of moving to like another night or something like that. But unfortunately, we were actually kind of high last weekend, but last weekend we only had 34% of kids here. So we understand that you guys are busy and that life takes over. So we don't want this meeting to be something to guilt trip you, that your kids aren't coming to Sunday school or anything like that. We just want to meet you where you're at and serve you and your kids so that they can grow in Christ. On average, our Sunday school teachers are putting in like total about 4 hours, like all the Sunday school teachers put together, about 4 hours of work into Sunday school. So we don't want to burn out our Sunday school teachers with only having a few kids and prep and stuff like that. So if there's a better way that we can figure out how to serve you guys, that's the goal of this. So I have these. I did not write these, but these were kind of taught to me in my education courses in college. I just found somebody who worded them better, and it was already done, so I didn't have to type it all up again. So there are some things like, I think it's an Adventist church, so you'll see some references like, because the Adventist church says so. So just ignore that kind of stuff. But this is like, you guys just want to take one, pass it around. Towards the end is more like development. Oh, sorry. You guys sit here at the table. So towards the end are like more development of where your kids should be like developmentally wise. But the beginning of it is kind of what I want to focus on, which pertains to faith. And I know each child is different and they're not going to fall like, okay, my kid's 7, so they need to be here. Like, I totally understand that. I don't want our kids to be like cookie cutter, this is where they need to be. But this just gives us an idea of where our kids can be working towards as they grow up. So the experienced faith, let me make sure I'm on the, yeah, okay. So experienced faith is number 1 on there, and those are like your infants. And so you can foster faith through them through like hugs, active listening, showing unconditional love, because then that's when they're older, they're going to be able to associate your love with God's love. So you're just kind of nurturing that, which I know none of us have infants in here. But then when you get to like the primary ages, this is where they're wanting to be a part of something and know that they're a part of something. So at this stage, they need a sense of authority. So like they want to have their why questions answered. When they go through those stages of, well, why this, why that? And so in their faith, this is where they're gonna like learn more through stories, drama, art, creative worship, and experiences in a warm, accepting atmosphere, which hopefully is church and home. And then if you turn on the back side, number 3 is your searching for faith. That's like your adolescents, so your middle schoolers and high schoolers. This is where they kind of start to like learn who they are and where their faith falls in line with who they are. And so at this time, they're learning to apply religion more to their lives instead of just learning the simple Bible stories that we teach every Sunday, like Noah's Ark or Jesus rising from the dead, those kinds of stories. This is where they're looking at those stories and saying, okay, how does this apply to me? Why does this matter to me? And then own faith is when you're an adult, and that's when you're taking that faith that you know how it relates to you and showing others their faith in that, oh, I can teach you what I know. And they can kind of start to do that in high school years too, you'll see. But when I was looking through these and thinking about some of our children aren't in some of these stages. Some of our kids don't know Bible stories. Like last year, during confirmation, one of our kids asked, I think they asked a question about like a simple Bible story that they had never heard before. And so, some of the interaction I see with them Sunday mornings up at the front of church, which I totally get. They're in front of everybody, like everybody's looking at them, so it can be pretty scary. But they're not, I feel like we're a little behind in where our kids could be, where the potential they have to be, and where they can start looking at their faith and how it relates to them. So I understand that Sunday school is hard because it's another hour to your Sunday morning, well, like hour and a half, because just the way we work around here, we run a little bit longer than most churches. And so I just want to give you guys some time to tell me how can we get your kids to know their Bible stories, and then later, like, how can we get them through these faith stages together? So feel free to throw ideas at me, criticize me, whatever you want to do.
Okay, I'll ask a question.
Yeah.
So attendance is kind of low and spotty, and I appreciate that you opened with nothing here is intended to make anyone feel guilty. So I'll just ask the question, why aren't the kids coming? And that's really just information gathering. Like, is it because families are busy and we have just a small group, so every week a few families are busy and then attendance is low? Or is it that they're not enjoying the classes? Or is there something else about it?
Well, I mean, I'll chime in a little bit. I mean, our life is super chaotic outside of church. Not everybody knows, like, our whole story, but so for us it is difficult. It's, like, pretty crazy. But I do know my daughter Ava goes to Tabernacle, so she gets religion every single day, goes to church on Wednesdays at her school. So for her, sometimes it is harder to get her to go to Sunday school. Like right now, she literally was like scooting, like, I don't want to go, because she said she hears these stories all day, and she knows them. So for her, I know she has a tougher time with that in there, but I don't know if she's always giving you that feedback when she's in there.
So she's reluctant because she feels like she already knows.
That's what she tells me, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I mean, I know she is doing the stories because she gets a Bible test every single week at school. So
could we twist it around and have her help with the class or
Right.
something?
she might actually like that.
And that
She
might
was just asking if she could be a preschool teacher today.
She
so.
was.
She
was.
she's one of that would be, if we kept the same level of kids like in my class was, she'd be a really good helper in that she could probably do the stories or something.
Sure.
And give it to the kids and her her perspective of what's the story's all about.
Yeah.
And the kids might really like that too.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because, I mean, it's a struggle. It's like some Sundays we come and then she is like, no. And her sisters literally will follow in tow. And so I'm like, okay, let's go. Like, so maybe that might be.
We are trying like new things, so I know that could be like
I know
different for the kids.
I know we got
too.
some feedback on Friday, which I really appreciate, and I did go back and touch base with the high schoolers.
Okay.
And so, in our case, this is the class we're doing down there is a class that I'm really enjoying, but clearly I am wired differently than high schoolers because the feedback I'm getting overwhelmingly, except for one, is I'd rather be doing something else. So the message I've given them this week is, I hear what you're saying. Please feel free to tell me those things anytime. Maybe not after every bad class, because some classes are just bad. But I also told them, we're kind of committed down this road for the short term, so I can't promise I'll change it next week. But I don't mind for the high school student parents and that I don't mind hearing feedback at all. I'd rather hear that they're not liking it, because like I come out of every one of these classes, the Messiah classes, thinking this is one of the best things we've ever done. I love this, but clearly I'm not a high schooler.
I do think it's great for adults.
Yeah.
I don't know about the high school kids, but I think it's superb.
They're probably just missing the time with them together, being able to connect
Maybe
and
not
not being, influenced or their parents are there or something.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a little.
And
Well,
they
it is
like,
a little formal down there.
Yeah.
Up here it's a little less formal usually.
They like to be able to have conversations, not feel like they're being lectured at. I know
Yeah.
they told me that like when I first got here. They're like, please don't lecture us.
Yeah, they get it all day. at
Great.
school.
And they've
Like,
got an
let's have
academic for a teacher,
conversation.
right?
Yeah.
The default is to lecture.
That was one of the things. The Percy's are gone for whatever reason, so we took it as an advantage of like, okay, the Percy's are gone. Tell me what you really think. Which they knew. They suggested it. So that was some of the feedback we got from them. And unfortunately, now they're stuck with it a little bit. But.
Well, the two girls I have in high school, one wants to be here all the time. I have no idea if it's what you're teaching or just because of who's here.
I suspect it's the
Could be both.
I like to think it's the former. I suspect it's the latter.
Yeah, and then Jessie, a lot of times she doesn't want to stay. She says there's nobody else here. There's nobody else who's coming that's,
Zoe or
yeah.
Casey were here.
There's
All right.
not,
So as we start to lose people, then we start to lose more because like I don't want to stay and be the only kid there or the only girl there or the only not Percy there. Yeah.
So
What about its own clarification?
I mean, if you've got your high school kids, what about them being more involved with the lower Sunday school again? I mean, even if it was like, say, like Jessie would come maybe once in a while, but maybe she can come and work with the little kids too. I don't know. Maybe I'm pushing too much on it, but where the kids are going to do the class and I have no job anymore. But I don't think that's it. I think that's another way when you want to show your faith in what you're doing. Like if she gave a lesson or something like that, she's just letting all the other kids know, boy, she really believes in what she's doing and what she's hearing, and she's willing to share it with us. And I think that's a good thing.
no, she does love to help out.
Yeah, I know. The girls even offered to help with Christmas, and I didn't get the message to Marissa fast enough. Different things happened in my life, and so. But I mean, they were always willing to help. Always. If you need help with the Christmas play, I'm here. Okay.
I think it is good. Like in your case with your daughter, learning that every day and then wanting to help and stuff. I think that's a good idea to plug people in, but I also, you don't want to pull too many people away. So like if Jessie doesn't go, then there's no reason for anybody else not to go. So not that it's not bad, or it could be something. It's just I think it's a each individual case kind of thing to look at and see, is that going to be the best? And maybe one of the other girls her age would also want to help and with Sunday school with the younger kids, but.
It wouldn't have to be all the time.
Right,
That's what you're
yeah,
saying. It was just like, maybe they'd rotate or something.
Right, yep,
That would help
yeah.
them in their faith and maybe want to keep with the youth group. And that would show the others also in the high school class that, if you're thinking about it, because they're not going to tell you that always, that they'd be interested in doing that.
Do you have a lot of older people in the high school now? Or is it?
No, in fact, we're going to lose them all. The boys are all graduating. So we lose James, Luke, Nathan, and Ethan. My Joey has been doing this, but now he's in the choir, so he's out. So we'll be left with Paul, Katie, Jessie, Joey Sigarani. Casey, thank you. So so now, and you can tell as I start to blank there, those are the ones that I see less of. So Casey, Jonathan, Alexander will come up. Yeah.
Oh, Sammy. He has Sammy.
Occasionally.
Yeah. Occasionally. So.
Is youth group attended better than the Sunday school?
Yeah, youth group is well attended compared to Sunday school. So,
What was-
just last night I had kids showing up to help out with Kids Night Out that I didn't even know were coming, which is a blessing. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining whatsoever. But you know, but you see that the high schoolers are really good at, they mesh really well together, and they're always showing up to things and always wanting to help. And a lot of that is attributed to they all grew up together in the church, and they just stick together. I've had to coach some of our newcomers. Like, they're like, I feel like nobody likes me, and that like nobody wants to talk to me, and I just have to remind them, you know, you're new, and that's okay. And they're so used to each other because they've always been around each other for so long that they forget too. And I'm not saying that's okay, but like, you know, because our high school they're not cliquish at all by any means. They just mesh really well together. And so sometimes it's harder for new kids because they mesh so well.
Well, those so not Luke. Luke's relatively new, but Luke just sort of blended right in.
Yeah.
But the others, they literally grew up together.
Yeah.
The families are really close, and they've known each other since they were tiny. So
Yeah.
It's not surprising that they stick together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I could just ask a question, because you're probably preaching to the choir here, right? Of people whose kids probably come regularly. Like it probably comes. Some of it maybe comes down to just your whole family and your family's priorities, and maybe it's a combination of things. There's other, like maybe sports are taken away at certain times, because I know people have sports things on Sundays, or other school activities, or maybe it's just not a family thing where the parents don't feel like there's something for them to do, you know, where they don't mesh with the Bible class or whatever. I think it's maybe could be more complicated than just.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I don't know how to address that without getting input from the people that are here that aren't here that like why is it? And I don't know if you had things on that survey too. I don't remember if there were things that.
We might send out a new survey after this, just to kind of get some more ideas, because it was an old survey.
I'm going to try to throw a little monkey wrench in this for you, because I think that this is all great about how the different stages of faith, but I have a really rebellious child who questions things and is going through this adolescent thing that he doesn't believe in God. And so I don't know if that's all for show for us and just a little phase he's going through, but and I don't want you to change the whole Sunday school program for one kid, but I'm just saying that that's a factor as well. And so when you talk about these groups that have grown up together, that there's like 10 or 12 kids in high school in his age range, there's two. There's him and one other boy, and they get along fine. But he left early today. I saw he was wearing his Boy Scout uniform, so obviously it had something to do. And then Daniel says, well, I don't want to go to Sunday school. It's just me. Yeah. And that's a bigger issue that I don't know how we're going to be able to address.
It'd be nice if there were peer pressure on him to get in line with the rest of the church rather than mom and dad being the only ones. And, you know, to Fariba's point, it's a rebellious thing with him. That he's obstinate. The day is long. So
What grade is he?
he's in fifth. He's sixth grade next year.
Okay, so he would be there.
Yeah. So, and I mean, Marissa's been really helpful because he was supposed to be in the younger kids in the beginning of Sunday school, of this Sunday school year, and he's like, Mom, I'm the oldest one in there. And so then Marissa was nice enough to move him up to the junior high group, but then again, there's only one other boy who's his age, so if one person misses, or we were out of town last week, so we weren't here. So, you know, it's noticeable. And that's like a bigger issue of if there were friends here that he wanted to hang out with, that would help. That would go a long way.
Yeah. And that's a great point to bounce off of, because I feel like if we're trying to get new families in here, you know, their kids are going to be even more obstinate of not wanting to go if they go, and they don't know anybody, but then nobody's there, and then they're like one-on-one with the teacher. Like, so for us to draw in more families, we got to figure out what works for us as a church first, so that when we draw in families, those kids want to stay because there's people and, you know, there's curriculum that draws to them and teachers that draw to them. So that age range, we only have like very few kids. Like we've been trying to figure out how we're going to do confirmation because we have so few kids for the 2-year curriculum and whatnot. We're going to brainstorm on how to help him. And
How often does it happen that he's like the other one's Alexander?
No,
No.
it's Jake.
Jake.
Oh, it's Jake.
James.
Sigurani.
And
Oh, of
Thomas
course.
Thomas is his age too.
Yeah, I was gonna
Thomas
forgot
is
how old
great, too.
Thomas is.
Yeah,
He's
and
important.
then sometimes Jessica Grant comes with her boys, and so Williams and me. But
Well, I think too, though, like you were saying, he was in his Boy Scout uniform. I know for us, there's a lot of activities that occur all weekend. I have 3 kids, and a lot of times on Sunday, people will book birthday parties and all kinds of stuff that are going on with your kids, and it's at 11. So you might be able to come to church, but it's really difficult sometimes to stay for Sunday school. So that's another thing to keep in consideration.
At my old church, or not my old church, the church I did field work at, which was close to my school, I went every Sunday and shadowed the DCE kind of thing. They had children's church, which is kind of what we were doing with the kids for the Christmas play, where they left to go do Sunday school during the sermon. Because I understand the kids are sitting there and they're so young that they don't want to listen to Pastor Pete talk. Some of that stuff
Even
just
the
goes.
older ones are like that.
Some of the stuff just goes right over their heads, which is totally understandable, and I don't blame them whatsoever. And so, we could do something like children's church, because then the kids are getting their Sunday school lesson in, because they're just sitting there mindlessly playing with the children's bags or whatever they bring from home. So this way we could be taking advantage of that time. But then one of my concerns with doing that was, well, then once church is over, what's there to do for the kids if parents want to stay and do Bible study or be in choir or be in parent circle, which should be starting up soon again.
The other challenge with that too is you end up with, if you want to catch the beginning of the service and communion, you end up with 20 minutes. Well,
Yeah, so lessons would be really short. Yeah, and then the other thing with that too that I've been on the fence with is because our Sunday school attendance has been really low, it's a lot to ask our Sunday school teachers to be teaching during the sermon, because we're going to have a rotation schedule so that the Sunday school teachers aren't missing out on the sermon too, because we need them to be spiritually fed as well. But if that's something that parents wanted, for our younger kids, we could definitely try it. With the older kids, I think it's really important that they take this time to learn how to sit in church, because when they graduate high school, they're not going to have parents, if they go away for college, they're not going to have parents dragging them to church every Sunday telling them to sit there. And so, it's really important for them to learn the importance of sitting there. But we could still do where maybe 1 or 2 come and help the Sunday school teachers. So if that's something that interests you guys, I would love to put the energy into it. But it's one of those things that I really need to know that everyone's committed to, because it's a lot of energy to put into. But if that's something that seems more appealing, maybe is it still recording? Oh no! Okay, we're good. Yeah, it's obviously. So, any feedback on that? Would that be easier for families?
I was thinking, today I'm sitting there and Ava is drawing and talking to me, and I'm trying to listen to the sermon, and I'm like, okay. And then she's not paying attention in there, and then afterwards she's like, I want to go, and that's when suddenly she's like, I don't feel well, and I'm dragging her. This is Sunday school. I was like, go. So,
we could just have time if parents want to stay for parent circle or Sunday school for the parents. We just throw the kids out on the playground for a little bit.
I wonder. Do we have to be perfectly overlapped? Start Sunday school in the middle of the service, but then have it run a little bit long.
Right after communion.
Well, so I was trying to stay right with the sermon, because some parents like their children to come to communion with them. I know, the Clances, that's really important to them. They even come and get the kids out of nursery to come to communion with them. So that's what I was trying to stick with, and then that offering time is the transition period. But we could I mean, if we're doing Sunday school at that time, I wouldn't